Welcome everyone to the Azure and AI show. I'm going to check my phone real quick to see if we've gone live. It does look like we are streaming, at least it says we're streaming here. Let's make sure we've got a connection to our audience here. I'm going to hop over to Frank's page to see if it is live. And with me today is not Frank Falvey. We should be live on Frank's channel, but we're not going to be live on Frank's Twitter, LinkedIn? I don't believe.
Okay.
Yeah, we should be on his LinkedIn, but I don't see it live on his LinkedIn yet. I'm looking on my phone and I don't see any live indication, but it does say we're live. And then I'm not seeing anything on my page either.
Yeah, I've tried to check mine too. I have not seen anything.
I just got the notification that I went live. So I think we are broadcasting, and we have, it looks like 3 people live watching. So welcome to the Azure and AI show. Frank is not with us, but we are on Frank's page. We're on my LinkedIn page. And Joseph, I believe we're on your LinkedIn page as well, correct?
Yep.
Cool. Feel free to introduce yourself, Joseph.
Okay, so my name is Joseph. I am Microsoft MVP and MCT, as it is spelled on my screen. I'm a resident here in Nigeria, and I'm happy today that we are here live again to show you some demos around the AI space. So I'm glad that, yes, the demos that I have in package for you today is going to be exciting. Today is not like the regular day where we'll have to be very serious. Hopefully we may have to dance before the end of today's show. Trust me.
Yeah, there's several things we've done outside of the Azure and AI show. I know Journey to the Cloud, we had Callahan join us and produce kind of halfway through the month some information about immersive spaces and teams. And I know Solomon Jeremiah and you and others have done some things with either mesh or immersive spaces recently. I've seen some really great videos and shares out on social. That's been really cool.
Thank you. So Dan, because of my class for the next hour, I may have to start from here. Ami, it's good to have you here.
Hey, nice to see you. Hey, Dan.
So Ami, this is my first time meeting you, and I'm happy to see your face. I've heard your voice so many times.
Thank you. I hope my face is as my voice.
Yeah, it looks like your voice too. Yeah, beautiful one,
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Nigeria.
I'm from Israel.
Yeah, I saw that from your profile.
Yep.
Right, that's cool. Yeah, so Dan, I was mentioning that I have another show for the next hour, so I may have to quickly do my demos and then stay to watch. So today I'm going to be looking at the free version of Copilot. I just left a show where we were talking about Copilot M365, and a lot of persons were saying, do we have the trial version? And unfortunately for M365 at the moment we do not have trial versions, but you still have a lot that the Microsoft Edge can do for you. So for me, I would recommend Microsoft Edge even when I am sleeping because of the features that I've seen in it, and you're going to see some few of those features in my demo. So I'm just going to be presenting my screen now. Present my screen. I'm going to do this, share screen, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to also do this and this screen and share. Okay, so Dan, sorry, were you able to see my screen? Please let me know.
Yeah, you're good. It's on the
okay.
screen.
All right then. So I'm just going to bring my personal account. So if you can see, this is just Edge, and I am signing here with my, sorry, this is not the one I'm supposed to use. I'm just going to bring up my free account. This one here that speaks to, okay, no problem. Let me do this. Sorry, I thought I was signing here with a free account so that you can see how that is. So I'm just going to set up a new account. Okay, so let's continue for now so that I don't delay us. But what I mean is that you have this here, so I can still move along with what I have. But just because you have Edge browser, you have this icon here that speaks to you using Ask Me Anything, because you see Copilot by the far right hand side here saying Ask Me Anything. So if you click on it, you're going to see this. And Ask Me Anything, for example, if I have a document on my desktop and I want to summarize it, I can easily summarize the document I have on my desktop. If I have a web, let's say I say history of AI, and if I bring that up, let me even make it Wikipedia because so that it will be long for me to just easily summarize. So this document, for example, is going to be a long document, explaining stuffs around the AI. So if I come here and I say summarize this document, it's just going to do this for me. I just put a link and then it's going to run through that link and give me a summary of what we have in that document. So this is just speaking to everything that we have in this whole long story, and then it's going to explain it to me in just this is enough for me to get what it is saying. So if I do this, I can just do Notepad, and then I can put that there to see what I'm talking about. So here is a brief summary of the document, ancient roots. So just this is going to give me concise detail about all the documents I have here. And if Edge is used as your default storage, I mean, if Edge is used as your default browser, you can as well navigate to pick up documents from your desktop and bring it up here. For example, if you have images also, let's say stadium, let's say Chelsea Stadium, we can also use the Microsoft Edge to see if this is open this way as an image. I wanted an image for myself, and I want to say, let's say I see this image randomly. So if I come to this icon you see here, add a screenshot, and I click on it, and I come to pick this image here, and I say, I come here, I do copy. If I do this and I come here, it's just going to pick that image and put it here for me. If I ask which stadium is this, it's just going to respond to me the stadium it is. So let's say I have a random image that I'm trying to look at. So what this will do is analyzing the image, privacy blood. So this is stadium, this is Stamford Bridge, the home of Chelsea Football Club. So I can also bring up series of images, even if I don't have their description. I can use this to bring it on and see what it is talking about or know what that image is all about. I can also ask it to design images for me. I can do a lot with that. Then if you want it to pick your voice from the microphone and say, let's say you want it to pick your voice from the microphone and help you do some research. So you can say, let's do this now. Give me the summary about co-pilots. So I just spoke and I held on. So the next thing, it picked my voice and then it's analyzing that.
Certainly. Here's a summary about co-pilots. Copilots are AI-powered conversational interfaces designed to assist users with a wide range of tasks. They leverage large language models, LLMs, and additional sources of knowledge to provide intelligent, context-aware responses.
So you can stop it when you want to stop it. So this is just you not having the time to type, and then you are just hitting on the button there to say, just help me do this. I don't have the time to start typing. And the good thing is, it is not only going to um, use your voice to bring the answer for you. It is still going to be sure, if you are not so lazy, to go and read, and then it will read it out to your hearing, and it's wonderful. This is just, again, free that you can make use of from the Microsoft Edge. So another point that you can also do is this image. So this is a way of also letting you know about an event that we have planned coming up that I'll be anchoring in December. Is just in a local vicinity where we are trying to go back to the community where we came from and try to teach people about the Microsoft Cloud. And this is actually going to be a show, and we are currently putting the proposals together. We are planning to have sponsors and send out stuff to people. So we have a flyer that is designed. So what we want to do on this call is to say that co-pilots, please pick up this flyer and help us do a jingle that we are going to use to produce a music. So like I mentioned, today we are going to have a music to ourselves. So just watch out how we are going to do that. So I'm just going to hit on this, add an image, upload from device, and then in my downloads, I should have an image there saying teach me cloud. So just so you see the image right here, first, here is the image, just so you see what is inside and what this is going to do for us. So downloads, it's here, and then teach me cloud is here. Let me just open that so we can see it. So this is the flyer. I hope I'm still audible. So this is the flyer, and it's saying that Pillars Concept present Teach Me Cloud, and all of these details that are here is going to be in December, and this is where the community where it is going to take place. And we are just using this to call for people who want to collaborate, perhaps sponsor the show. That's fine, but what we are focusing on right now is how we can use the power of Copilot in Edge that you have access to for free because you are using Microsoft Edge. So we're just going to hit on the add button, and then we click on the upload from device, and then we are going straight to that image, and then we are bringing it up. And what do we want Copilot to do for us? We want to say, help me generate a jingle to advertise for the sponsorship of this program. Okay, let's just hit it and let's see what it will do for us. So from what you can see, it's saying analyzing the image, and then privacy blur height, then faces from the Copilot, and then it's just trying to generate that. Now look at what is happening. So it's just so if you like what you have, elevate your skill cloud and all of this. So we can say it is short, but this is all from there. Elevate M365, I mean your skill, reach out to the cloud and do this, and also, okay, make it a song, make it look like a song. So let's just do this, because what I want to achieve from this is we're using this to produce a music from what is called Suno. So Suno uses, I will create that. So it's just telling you that, oh, maybe this time it's taking that for me asking for image, right? I don't know what is saw by going here, but that's still notwithstanding. We are going to copy the lyrics, I mean the wordings that we have here, elevate this and down to this place. It's just going to be brief, and I think it's fine that way because we don't even have time. So let's just paste it on Notepad to be sure of what we have. We have this, right? So elevate your skill, reach out to the cloud and this, and then join tech, and then don't be shy, from M365 to Azure, hands-on galore, unlike your tech future and all of that. So okay, let's just say again that use this lyrics and add that this concept is hosting the training. So for those listening out there, this is free from Microsoft Edge. It is nothing like you pay for, but it's just as simple as what you have it on your Edge. So if you have Edge and you've not opened to this point before, you may have to do that. So the prompts I'm typing and maybe not making sense to Copilot, but it's fine. Let us head on to this place and then let's use that to create a music. And one thing that is very important is suno.com. If you've not visited this, you may have to check it out. So if you come to suno.com, it will ask you to sign in. So while signing in, the good thing is that it integrates very well with your Microsoft account. So if you bring in your Microsoft account, then it's going to pick it for you. If you hit on this now, then it's just going to sign me into an interface where I can produce music. So I want to use my private account. So take note of this. I'm just using my Gmail account that is free Microsoft account. And let's see how it's going to go. We may have to, because it's very short, maybe we'll have to just paste it twice and then we can see what we have there. So this is picking my private account. Just to mention, when coming into suno.com, you have two options. You can either use your phone number or you can use your Microsoft account to authenticate. But for example, my own region, phone numbers are not going through for me. So if you have issues with phone numbers, in most people trying to do this, they have issue with phone number. But with Microsoft integration into this AI tool that makes music, then you can truly understand what this does for you. So you can come here and hit on create. And then what you do is that you have customize your music. You have upload an audio, and then you have instrumental only, and then you can decide to hit on this customize and then say this: join me cloud computing, don't be shy, and then all of these and this, right? So maybe we'll just, again, just to make it a bit long, because you have option to supply 3,000 wordings, and Nigerians like Afrobeats. So let me check so that I'll be sure that I can type that. I think it's Afrobeats, right? Yeah, it should be Afrobeat. Yeah, that's it, Afrobeat. So I'm going to copy this and bring it down to Suno, and this tells me the style of music I want. So I can just say Nigeria, then Afrobeat. If I say Nigeria Afrobeat, and then that's the music I want to generate, and then I just hit on create. So this was supposed to make me add my title if I want to add it. So just wait within the matter of seconds, then it will generate that music. And I'll also play the subsequent, the previous ones that I've generated from here also, so that we can hear how those music sound. So this is it generating. Now one is ready here. So the next voice you'll be hearing is the voice from Suno that I created my beats, my lyrics from Microsoft Edge, and I've brought it into Suno by the use of my personal Microsoft account, and all of these are for free. Then you listen to the music that is going to play from there. First time listening to it too.
Hey, Joseph, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, please.
Okay, I think I have tested another feature. I don't know if you spoke about it, but there's a possibility to, if you put a YouTube video, then the Copilot can summarize the video, the content. So have you tested
Wow.
that? Go into a YouTube.
No, I have not.
Okay, so let me try to guide you. If you want, just go to YouTube, to any something not music, but more something that is talking about. Even you can try my YouTube channel.
I was going to
Or
say I
try
can.
we can try anyone's YouTube channel, and it should also provide you automatic prompt to summarize. Okay, so go to yours and open the Chrome.
On the screen today.
Are you on Edge?
Okay, so I've done that already. I'm going back to Edge now.
Yeah. Yep.
Can you see my Edge browser?
Okay. I think
okay. So
yeah,
here,
now we can.
Yes, I'm here now.
Yeah. So, okay, so open it and open your YouTube channel or whoever you want, and you should automatically have a prompt that says summarize the video, if I'm not mistaken. But
Okay,
now
so
we see
let me
Bing.
bring.
We see Bing. We see Bing. We don't see
Yes.
YouTube.
Okay, so I should open YouTube inside of the browser also, right?
Yes,
Okay.
of course. Everything needs to be in the Edge. And
okay,
we
makes
should
sense.
see probably a
I'm just
cool
opening YouTube.
I haven't tested it for a long time, but I think it should work.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm here already. So I may just pick up one of the videos. Can you see my video?
Choose let's say something that has something that you're talking about or anything. The top ones.
Okay.
Let's choose the even the.
So I can just open it, right? Okay. For coming on this.
Open
Okay.
and open the Copilot icon.
Okay.
And
so here, ask me anything you type here. Right? That's what it's saying.
I think it should provide you automatically. You just write summarize the video. Yeah. It should give you an automatic one.
Let's see. I think if I paste the link to the video, it should just pick it also. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, it's doing that. It's doing that already. Ami.
Yeah,
it's doing that already.
Super cool.
It gives you even the. This is amazing. Think. Actually, there's one person that takes my videos, HubSite 365, and he uses some kind of AI tool that I don't know if he views on it. Views the video, but the AI just does a summary and then he puts it. Yeah. And sometimes it's not that accurate, but look, instead of listening to a 60-minute video, you can get a summary, and maybe you say write it in 5 bullet points, then maybe it will give you only the key points. But
let's do
this
that.
is amazing.
Yes, definitely.
And if you were not aware, then and the audience also sees that, I think it's a game changer. It's like reading this instead of reading the whole book, you
I'm not sure
read only.
Definitely, Ami. That was a good one. So I don't know if the audio of my device was being played to the audience. Dan, could you hear the audio from my screen that I shared?
I think it was earlier. I think we heard the audio earlier.
Okay, so I'll try it again. Just the music we tried to produce. I'll just hit it. Let me know if you can hear or not.
I heard the music. Yeah, we can hear it.
Yeah, we hear something. Yeah, we hear some.
So this is the second one.
Elevate your skills, reach for the sky. Join technical and don't be shy. From my 365 to Azure, hands on lamps galore. Unlock your tech future, learn and explore. Sponsorship opportunities right at your door. Invest in some.
So I made one earlier. Just to wrap up, I made one earlier with this, and this is it.
You pick the genre too? Joseph, you pick the style of music?
Let's explore the cloud. With fearless concepts will make you proud.
That's cool.
So that's how beautiful it is, just to play around images, and we're able to generate. So from here, the co-pilot in Edge was able to help us grab information from a flyer, create a jingle, and then we use the jingle to go into Suno using your Microsoft free account, and then we're able to produce music from there, and we can listen to it. And the brilliant suggestion from Ami stating that we could just open YouTube with the same Edge browser, and then we can say, hey, help me summarize this in 3, 4, 5, as the case may be, bullet points. And instead of even watching the video without taking note of the key things that are there, you can just have it written down and read through it. And I think that is brilliant. And I've not seen that in any other browser yet. So Microsoft Edge is a way to go. Thank you very much, everyone on the call. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Ami, it is always a pleasure to have you here on the Azure and AI show. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know, Ami, I reached out to you and Joseph and some others. Would love for folks that have joined us today. We've got, we're back down to 10 folks live, but would love for folks to consider writing Frank Falvey, our typical host for the Azure and AI show, a recommendation on LinkedIn. If you are not connected with Frank, please plan to connect with him. You need to be a first level connection on LinkedIn. And we are not necessarily in control of Frank's nomination as a MVP, a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional. However, we are in control over just giving Frank some kudos or saying something about what Frank has done for us personally. So if you so choose to write Frank a recommendation, that can be based on the things you've seen here on the Azure and AI show. That can be if you've been a speaker on either this show or something else that Frank has done, if you've collaborated, if Frank's given you feedback, guidance on your journey to become an MVP. I know those are things that we shared with Frank that he should make sure he's capturing on his application when he turned that in. But I think this would be something that we are in control of over sharing what Frank has done for us personally. And Frank, I'm sure, will return from vacation honored to see a number of those, whether or not he sees a note from the MVP program. I know his nomination was turned in fairly recently. Sometimes it takes a little while for those nominations to be reviewed, but September 1st is typically when, first of the month is when Microsoft makes announcements about MVPs that have been newly minted or new MVPs. And I know tomorrow I'll be looking for any of those announcements that we might find on social media.
Yeah, but I think if it's a Sunday, probably it's sometimes moved to a Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Usually it's a working day. Yeah. So probably it will be, yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't heard if they've always moved that to the Monday, but sometimes it's on the 1st and then sometimes it's on a different day of the month. But I'll start looking for the announcements tomorrow, and then I'll see if I don't see any. I would imagine we'll see them on Monday. Good point, Ami. OPME Stephen asks, will the sound be copyrighted on YouTube? Joseph, do you know the answer to that one?
So that should be open source sound. So I'm not sure there's anything around copyright. They're open source. Yeah.
Excellent.
There's a difference in the YouTube. Some things are not copyrighted, but YouTube will not count it. If you're getting paid for views, then they can say it's not licensed, but you cannot gain any payment from YouTube because it belongs to somebody, even though you don't need a license. But still, yeah. So I was actually checking this because let's say I have a YouTube channel and I want to put an intro and I need to take music. So if I add some music, which is probably does not require any license, but yet it does say you're not qualified to be paid for viewing it, then it ruins the whole thing. Oh, I need to check with other people how they do it, but of course what's important is to push the content. But sometimes you also, if you're entitled, then why not collect some pennies?
Yeah, good point. I had not thought of that, whether intro music would be a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, all of the videos in the world have an intro and
Oh yeah,
ending. So I guess there should be some kind of a solution that is beneficial.
yeah.
Um,
I know several, like Ami, you did a video recently about Microsoft Forms having background music.
yeah.
And, if you were showing that in your YouTube video, does that
Well,
count or
yeah.
does that not count?
That's not yeah, but they're very basic. But
Oh yeah,
as in an intro, it's like it's the main thing, and they can YouTube should probably because where else you have Clipchamp of
yes.
Microsoft
I was going to say, I
provides
thought they had background
they
music, right?
no you can
Yeah.
add free music,
Okay.
and probably it's not required for a license, but then maybe YouTube can say okay, but yeah, I find Clipchamp very useful. Um, it even adds captions, and I just learned you can even remove a background of an image in Clipchamp. That's something new that also I found out.
Yeah, sure.
So each time there's so many things that are changing, and it's hard to follow up. But sometimes with trial and error, the more you use the tool, the more you find things that have changed, and that's the whole fun. Yeah, to learn all the time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 background music choices in StreamYard. So StreamYard also has background music that I can control the volume as a producer. So Frank Alvey owns this StreamYard account or subscription, but he's made myself, I think Teresa and Pratap are the other producers. So we have the control over, coming live to you when Frank's busy, playing pre-recorded events, scheduling those.
Yeah, I think I can hear the sound. It's on, right?
Free account or the extended, the paid
Frank has been
paid
paying
one
for this for about a year, I want to say. So Frank, that's another thing that I think he should have listed on his MVP application is that when I stopped using StreamYard as a paid subscription, I went to Restream because it was half the cost.
Yeah.
Frank picked up this and has been sharing that with other community members. So that's again a contribution of not all of us having to have our own accounts. One of the benefits of paying for StreamYard is the ability to share that subscription with multiple people. And Frank's been doing that. I don't know if he listed that or not, but I think he should have.
Yeah, I think the criteria of MVPs is not that clear, and each time they have different criterias, and sometimes they say they're hardening or making the topics that you need to consider stricter. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone needs to do their best, and the rest is not in your hands. So
and that's a really good point. Is that there is no do A, B, and C, and you'll become an MVP. I've heard a lot of people talk about videos and say, how to become an MVP. There is no becoming an MVP. It's an award. It's not, I do these things and I'm automatically qualified, or, I get it. MCT, however, is Microsoft Certified Trainer, do A, B, and C, and, update these yearly, and you become a MCT. MVP is an award, so it's
but
outside
I think
of our control.
The MCT has changed.
Yes.
Wasn't it that you needed to pass certain tests, and then I think at some points there was you just, if you got from
associate
from the
certification
people,
before,
if you didn't, but if you did enough trainings, then and you submitted it, then that was enough even without taking the certifications. Because
so at some point it was until after you've taken certifications, and I think now you have to take the certifications and you still have to be available in MCT conference to present a paper or something, and then they review your presentations, and I think that's how it goes now, right?
Yeah, you have to take a train the trainer. Yeah. Yeah. So
because people that take a certification doesn't mean they know how to train, or they know that they just passed the test. I'm not saying that that's not the case, but I think it should be also a balance of, some people are very good with no certification, and others have a certifications and are very good, and some only have a certification and don't have any experience. So somehow, I don't know how.
You have
The
to look
best
for a
is
way to
to have.
balance that out.
Yeah.
So why are you Miss Chef Maker?
I changed that because of Donna Soccer. Donna wants everybody to be a troublemaker, and I decided, you know what? She's the chief troublemaker. What could I be? So I decided I'd add, instead of chief executive officer or chief learning officer or chief whatever the CXO title is, I decided I'd add Miss Chief Maker to my LinkedIn in honor of Donna.
Dan, can I ask, as you're probably expert in PowerPoint, right? Is that your MVP?
I am not a MVP in PowerPoint, but I spend a lot of time.
Not anymore, but once you were. Oh,
I never have had it. They asked me at the first MVP summit because I went to some of the PowerPoint sessions, and they said, "Are you an MVP in PowerPoint?" And I said, "You tell me. I don't know how that works." And this year they had two categories. I wanted to get my MVP category in Copilot, and my official category is Teams. So I wanted to keep Teams. If I could add a third, which was not an option, I would have added PowerPoint and seen if I've done enough in PowerPoint to be considered. But I'm not an MVP in PowerPoint officially.
Okay. I somehow, actually, I just tested the Copilot for OneDrive, and a cool thing was that when you share a document, only a Word document, it offers you a summary of the document before you send it. So that's really a cool feature that I'm sure many people would use. They should review it before, but that's really
I'll show you this feature on a Mac, Ami. This is probably my favorite PowerPoint feature ever, but it only works on a Mac computer. If you've ever seen a really complex...
This thing?
Yeah, this is called Arrange Objects on a Mac.
Oh, is this a transition, or what is it? Is it a
Murphy? It's a visual of why I have such a busy slide. So if I'm trying to figure out why something's covered up or not covered up, I can actually move the things, the objects in this
it's
visual
looking 3D.
Yeah. And this is only on a Mac.
Yeah, I wonder why. Yeah.
I have not gotten an answer from the PowerPoint team. I'm assuming that it's some kind of service that a Mac offers
What
that they didn't have to
action did you
code.
do to get to this thing?
So there's two
How did
places
you?
in PowerPoint. In PowerPoint for the Mac, you can go to the, I think it's the animations or the transitions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's a place where you can do the reorder objects. Let's see if I can find it here. Might even be under shape format, where you can bring up the reorder objects. Here it is, reorder objects. And one of the options is there's a selection pane that allows you to turn on and off the different things. So if I'm trying to figure out where my link is, I can turn things on and off and say, oh, okay, that's picture 4 at this point is on the far right. But reorder objects just makes it that much more visual, where I don't have to guess, why is this on top of or below different things on the slides? So it becomes very visual. And I'm assuming the reason this is only on a Mac is because it's some kind of service that a Mac makes available to the application, in this case, PowerPoint. And I'm assuming the PowerPoint team didn't have to build this on a Mac.
Yeah.
But it's just something they had at their disposal that they don't have on Windows. Because the first time I saw this over 10 years ago, everybody in the audience, it was an internal Microsoft thing. They were announcing that this was coming. Everybody in the audience, their hands shot up and they were like, can we do this on Windows? And the PowerPoint team said, only on Mac.
Question for a Windows person that doesn't have a Mac, can you have Edge on the Mac?
You can, yeah.
You
Edge
have
works
Edge?
cross-platform now. I do, yeah.
Okay, so so you have the Copilot in the Edge as well in the Mac.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So they go up to Microsoft, and I don't have it installed right now, but I can install it. So you go to
okay, yeah.
Microsoft Edge and get to know, and then there's a download. And if you're on a Mac, it just downloads the Mac version.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's
I became a Mac user.
Yeah.
I became a Mac user years ago, but still do plenty on Windows too.
Once you go to Mac, you never go back, or something like that. Yeah. It's funny that it's funny that you can use a Mac for Windows for Microsoft.
That was the so at the time. At the time, I was a Microsoft employee for my first Mac, and I thought, with my bonus at Microsoft, what is the one thing Microsoft's never going to buy me? And it seemed like a common decision at Microsoft was you didn't get a Mac computer for working for Microsoft. So I decided I can use a personal or work account when I sign into Edge. I decided there was Office for the Mac, and I wanted to be able to play around with that. I had never used Office on a Mac. I'd never owned a Mac. And I thought, my first bonus is going to go towards a MacBook Pro. And I've still kept up on Windows. I have the latest version of the Surface Pro, the 11th edition. I love that. But I also have plenty of Mac computers in my life as well now.
Yeah. Joseph, you mentioned that you could not get a license for Copilot, but I think MVPs are allowed even not to share that, not to give somebody else access, but they are allowed to present the sandbox. So if you have the sandbox,
I do have. No,
I think that's our award category, Ami.
Yeah, I do.
What's that?
I do have that. So I have it. I was just mentioning that the show I was, that the questions that were coming up was requesting if there was a trial for Microsoft Copilot, 365 Copilot, and I said there is no test for now.
Wanted to
there is no trial license.
I think I think it's possible.
Yeah, I was able to get. Yeah, but I think the issue I have with that is we have Copilot 25 seat counts given to us for demos, but unfortunately, the required license for Copilot to work effectively, speaking to the base license, business premium, and e-licenses, we don't have that. We have 5 to work with, and we have 25 of Copilots, which means that we have short of 20 seat counts. And when I try to do trial for maybe business premium, I've been having issues with my card. I've tried to raise support and no one comes to my rescue yet. So
By the
it means
way,
that I
there's
have
a
5 E5 license. So yeah, I know there used to be a way you could do invoice and then you can go ahead and purchase, but right now I don't have that option.
yeah.
It has
I
to be
think
only
we
by
should
card.
mention that besides the 360 Microsoft or Copilot for 365 and the free one, there's also one that you pay $20, which is like
Yeah,
a
that's
upgrade
a
to the
pro
free
version,
one, but
right?
yet not
Right.
the corporate one. That's also something
Mm,
interesting to test and see what it gives. I
And
don't
there's a
know if
trial for that.
yeah,
That does have a trial.
yeah, that makes sense. I think that
Yeah.
okay,
that's
that interesting.
oh, that have a trial.
The
Oh,
personal
the pro has a
Copilot
trial
Pro.
done.
Copilot Pro.
Oh, that's
So if
cool.
Yeah.
you use a Microsoft
That's
account,
cool.
you can go and sign up, and there's a 30-day trial. And then if you go into your
Oh,
account and you turn off recurring billing, because it'll automatically bill you the second month, but you can go into your account
mhm.
properties and just turn off the recurring billing, and then you don't get charged the second month. And Microsoft accounts are free, so
Brilliant.
I have probably 20 accounts from when we were doing designer invites to different people, Microsoft designers. So I have like 20 accounts that I can just cycle through. So that'll get me through almost a year and a half of Copilot Pro without paying for it because I can just use all those trial accounts that I have set up.
Mm, brilliant.
So we are live
Oh, I
on
never knew that.
15 with 15 different folks. Now we're up to 17. Welcome, everyone. This is awesome.
Mhm.
And Joseph, you had just asked about like for MVP contributions, how do we track how much of a reach or how much impact the Azure and AI show has had? That's a challenge because it's going to change over time, right? This is live today on
Yeah,
Saturday, August 31st. But between now and next spring, when we have to document everything we've done, each and every one of these episodes is going to have other people that might have come
would have
across it,
more
watched
views.
part of it or all of it, right? So, Ami, I don't know if for your YouTube channel you have any guidance for Joseph on how you document the impact as an MVP of your
Well,
YouTube.
at least for LinkedIn, you know you have the impressions and the other one. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah,
One is impression
views
and
and impressions. I think
yeah.
there's
So yeah, YouTube channel.
Unique
I
view. I
think
think
it's
it's
actually
unique view, right?
where in
Hmm.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think we have
I
unique view also in LinkedIn.
to to be honest, what I did was to show once you needed to give each video separately to submit, and that they changed
now
the
you can
concept. They
do
said,
it.
I don't want to see 300 things. Show me show me the channel and just give me the statistics and things. So
The
um
overall, right?
yeah, so I think what we have is the total views, the total subscribers, the total videos that were uploaded. Um, I think that's sufficient. I don't know if it's possible to. I mean, yeah, this is
Yeah,
what I can provide. I think um, because as you said, if I upload a video now, I might have 50, but in 2 months I can have 2,000. So
1 year.
yeah,
it's not something that you
So
can give unless you submit it towards the end and just give the latest
true.
fact. and uh, to go down to unique viewers, and that it doesn't matter. I mean,
Right.
a
Yeah.
person
So I
won't
mean, I
be
think I see the point here. The point here. I mean, sorry to cut you. Is that we are on this right now, and you are streaming to your YouTube, I guess. Dan is doing the same thing, and as well as Frank's YouTube channel. All of this we cannot track at a point because I don't know how many impressions you are going to have, Dan is going to have, Frank is going to have. And if you also need to use this content, you don't also know how much impressions I have on my own end, right? So, and the way I do this is at the end of this show, I'm heading onto the profile to update this that we have done this today, right? And it will be asking how many were the reach. So, what do you put as at today? Do you have to go back to change it later or what?
I give an estimate. I don't think they don't go down to the very detailed things. I think they just want to see that the content is original and not copied one to one from a blog that Microsoft provided. They want to see original stuff and creative stuff. Um, you know what? I think even if you get 20 views, but your blog or podcast is unique, I think that's enough. I don't. If you get more, then you get more.
Mm.
But uh, I can tell you that um, when I compare, if I do a YouTube of a training that is very practical, I would get 10 times more than if I interviewed somebody else that users are less interested in just having an interview with somebody, but they're more interested in seeing, straight to the point, tell me how to do it. Um, but I think sometimes interviews can be very interesting, especially if you discuss things or you get to know people from the community, and that's sometimes also important, not only
So
to spill content, but also to meet people, talk about things, learn from people, interact, network, and all of that is a also a way to show or to contribute to the community, I think. Because to talk to yourself is one thing, but to interact with people shows that you're
yeah,
social and
definitely,
you're.
definitely.
I mean, even what we're doing now is something that I wouldn't have experience opportunity to, you know. So
So I think one other thing, Ami, is we have two descriptions there when you are imputing your contribution. You have the private description and then you have description. So what's the difference between these two?
by the way, I think things that are NDA or things that are specifically for the for the MVP, I think should not be discussed with the whole
These aren't
community. Okay,
contributions aren't
I'm just saying if it's
what
something
you did
specific.
might be confidential, but the fact that we have to document them, I don't think is confidential. And if I'm
Okay,
wrong, I'll take that on my shoulders because
no, I'm just saying, if it's something
it's
that
part of the
is not
nomination.
relevant for the, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Um, what's your question? Is the difference between reach and
No, I was just talking about the types of descriptions that you can give to your contributions. You have two, you have the private, and then you have another one that may be general
There's
description.
there's a star now, Joseph, for high impact, and I discovered you can only have 5 total. So you can put as many as you want. You used to have a private or a public.
I think there's up to, I don't remember, 15 or something like that. I think it's just what is. I think even if you don't mark it as a high impact, well, I
They
don't
can
know.
see Microsoft
We
can see
don't.
that, but I don't
Yeah,
think
of course.
I
Yeah.
don't think they're public. When I've looked through like Matthew Brown, Matthew had pages and pages of contributions that were all public. And now Matthew either has one or he might even have less than one that are public because they changed it this past July.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's not NDA, Ami, because you can see people's contributions when you go to their.
No, I'm talking about specifically filling out the form of the contribution is something that might not be relevant for all of the people. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I can certainly ask Betsy Weber that question.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
My motto is even if I would not be nominated or awarded, I would continue doing this with no matter, because this is what I started, and this is what I like doing, and that's the whole point. The award is a bonus, and it's a pat in the back, and but it's not the journey is important. If you get it, it's really nice, and I'm actually waiting for the ring or the dice or
what do they call it?
The ring or disc. Disc. Yeah.
Yes.
So I ordered it. Hopefully, it will arrive in the next couple of days, and then I can put it on my trophy or whatever it's called. Yeah.
So Joseph, we're up to 25 live viewers. The other thing that this doesn't tell you in StreamYard is, are those the same 25, or have we had people come and go and we might be larger than the 21 that are live right now? But to your point and to Ami's point, your YouTube is different from my YouTube, is different from your LinkedIn, Frank's LinkedIn, and my LinkedIn. So the impact or trying to track that accurately becomes a little difficult for us. We have to make like an educated guess as to the impact of it. But we can certainly talk about. Go ahead, Ami.
No, I'm saying I'm seeing you in StreamYard and in LinkedIn now at the same time. So, I think I don't think when you split your things to all of the places, then maybe you need a third-party tool to analyze. Or if you Spotify or
StreamYard might, for Frank, it might, because this is Frank's account, it might give Frank some statistics of like where all we went. And you do allow, like I've given Frank's account permission to my LinkedIn. And Joseph, that's the other thing to be aware of. Like if you've added your social accounts, because we're using Frank theoretically could go live on your channel. He's not going to do so without permission.
Okay.
The only channel I added without asking specifically was Pratap's channel on YouTube. So we are live on the innovation tech community. And, Pratap has that as a community channel. So I'm sure he's not having any problem with that being used for this broadcast. But, I didn't ask him specifically. I just wanted to add another channel. Yeah. Thanks, Ami. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, listen, I appreciate meeting you both, and wish you a nice week, and see you in the next show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Ami, I'll look at next weekend, maybe scheduling something earlier with you.
Perfect.
Awesome.
I'll appreciate it. Bye.
Take care.
Yeah. I mean, it's good meeting you too. Thank you very much. Yeah. Have a good one.
Yeah. Joseph, did you have something you needed to go for?
I'm already in the meeting. I am going to be training at ABC of Cloud today, SharePoint online. So
awesome.
I am in already. I'm just having people joining one after the other. So dropping off from here is starting from the other side.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, folks, thanks for joining.
Dan, thank you very much for.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us all. Ami's YouTube channel, if you are not a subscriber, is SharePoint Wizard. So you can go to youtube.com/@SharePoint Wizard to subscribe to Ami's SharePoint Wizard channel. And as we mentioned earlier, we are a community of, I want to say, we are approaching 2,000, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to check this real quick. The Microsoft Speakers Hub has been around for probably we are over 2,000. We are 2,313 followers on the Microsoft Speakers Hub. So we have certainly surpassed at some point. I'd have to look up the data on when we got over 2,000 followers. But that, Joseph, is another statistic you can use. Is we have a newsletter that we put out whenever anybody wants to produce the newsletter, and you can use the newsletter as a content admin or I don't remember what they call the bigger admin on LinkedIn, but our company page, we have the ability to add people to that so that you can schedule things as the Microsoft Speakers Hub or post things on behalf. So I know Lance Lingerfeld is a admin, content admin. Teresa is a content admin. Roxana is a content admin as well. So I'll check if you are. I don't remember if I promoted you to a content admin on that. But if you are watching this,
yeah, I think you did. You did.
Awesome, cool. If you're watching this live, thank you for being here. We have 22 folks live with us right now. So thank you all for tuning in.
So one thing to mention is I also have some contents here on the YouTube that viewers can go check out also. I have that pasted. Cool. So maybe you just want to let us also see that.
Thank you. Yeah, let me go ahead and post that link here. Thank you for providing that. I was wondering if you were, there's so many messages that we have that folks have shared that trying to figure out where they are in this list, if they're already in the list.
All right, so that's beautiful. I just want to, so yeah, I wanted to jump to the other call where I'll be taking some trainings. Okay, so Dan, I will see you again next week. Yeah, so take care of yourself. And
awesome.
Yeah, bye.
You too. Take care.
Yeah, bye. Yeah, bye.
And so our final shout out would be to Frank Falvey. Frank has been hosting this Azure and AI show now for going on 8 plus 20 months. This is the last day of August, and Frank started this in January 2023. So I've mentioned a couple times, none of us as MVPs are in charge of making other MVPs, and we can nominate, which we have done. Frank has been nominated as an MVP. The traditional approach to that nomination is that several people do not mention that they are nominated. So there is no, unlike other awards, right? When you think about the Grammys or you think about the Academy Awards, there is recognition in movies coming out that say Academy Award nominee so-and-so. And same thing with other awards that I'm aware of. There is recognition and celebration in just having been nominated. The MVP, the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional Award, up to this point, there has not been a traditional, hey, I've been nominated as an MVP, and maybe thanking who nominated you. And that is a culture that I know Matthew Brown broke kind of the tradition when he was nominated by me. I left it up to Matthew, like, it's up to you as an individual if you're nominated as an MVP, whether you share that or not. I know Frank has been nominated by both myself and Matthew Brown as an MVP. I don't think he would have a problem with me sharing that. I believe he shared that he was nominated at least once, if not multiple times, on LinkedIn. And the nomination process, the nomination, maybe turning into a award at some point is beyond our control. But what is within our control is documenting Frank's impact on you personally, or the impact of this show and this community. 2,300 people find value in the Microsoft Speakers Hub. And I don't know if we get stats from LinkedIn about the worldwide impact or the places within the US, Ireland, Europe, Africa, Asia that we have had impact. Australia, we've had Sharon Conley as one of our speakers. Sharon is from the continent of Australia. I don't know if we've had anybody else offhand from Australia. I would be surprised if we haven't. But the worldwide impact that Frank has had on several of us is something that I am humbly requesting your assistance with. Frank has been doing the Azure and AI show now for 20 months. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary at the end of this year. We've already done the Journey to the Cloud. What started out, Frank, Matthew, myself, Solomon, Jeremiah, hosted the Journey to the Cloud event originally, maybe once every other week, whenever we were all available. We got on, we would go live for several hours when we started Journey to the Cloud. And next week, typically the first week of a month, typically on a Thursday, we go live with Journey to the Cloud monthly. Frank started this weekly, and so that monthly cadence gave us another day of the week to choose. Frank originally chose Fridays for the Azure and AI show. I don't remember if it was the beginning of this year or sometime in the spring that he moved the meetings from Friday evening his time to Saturday evening his time. But that is the cadence of the Azure and AI show. So I will be live with you as the host next Saturday. But wanted to ask for your assistance with making Frank or giving Frank the gift of a recommendation on LinkedIn. I know for me, that is the hardest thing for me to ask for, is for people to write me recommendations. I just got one from a colleague in India that I met probably over a year ago. He had interest in the MVP program, and I believe I nominated him. I don't know if he ever heard back on that nomination, or I don't recall offhand if he submitted that nomination. But typically, like I said, that's not something that's shared publicly. So I'm not going to mention who that friend in India is here without getting his permission. But he has asked me to write him a recommendation on LinkedIn. That is much easier for me to respond to. I am more than happy to write recommendations for people that I have worked with. If I haven't worked directly with you, this individual and I haven't worked directly, but I have observed his work with the community, both the Microsoft community and the wider tech community, on LinkedIn for over a year. So I'm happy to write something about that formally as a recommendation. What I found very valuable was to recognize the folks that have helped me along my journey. So it doesn't require me to ask anybody to write a recommendation for them. If you are a first level connection to me, to Frank, to Matthew, to Solomon, and this is my reminder to make sure I've written Solomon a recommendation, and I've written other people that have helped us with this Azure and AI show, as well as Journey to the Cloud recommendations, because sometimes I forget. I assume that I've done it, and I may or may not have. I know I'm over 100 recommendations that I have written for other people, but one of the things I did this year was put those in alphabetical order because they're listed based on when you wrote them. So this individual who has asked me to write them a recommendation, his first name, I will say, starts towards the beginning of the alphabet, and it will be the latest recommendation that I've written. So it'll be towards the top of the list, but everything else is in alphabetical. So I went through the trouble or the process of writing an article that lists everybody that I've written a recommendation for alphabetically. The benefit of that is if I'm trying to remember, hey, have I written Pratap a recommendation on LinkedIn? Instead of having to comb through years of recommendations that I've written over several years, I can just look at that alphabetical list, go to the P's, and see if I've written Pratap a recommendation or not. I also use that as an opportunity to categorize alphabetically the folks that have been kind enough to write me a recommendation on LinkedIn. So if you have interest in shouting out Frank and sharing the impact that Frank has had on your personal, your professional, or your MVP journey, I would ask you to do that in the next 2 weeks, because Frank theoretically is not watching this show because he's on vacation. And if he watches this show, then he's going to know, what's happening and what we're trying to put together or accomplish for him in the next 2 weeks. But during our 20th month of the Azure and AI show, I would love to surprise Frank in 2 weeks with several recommendations that he didn't have at the beginning of his vacation. You never know. Maybe we'll be celebrating other things that Frank has accomplished. But this is certainly something that is within our control, and similar to that nomination, congratulations or happiness that we can share with others as folks are nominated for the MVP. We can also write recommendations for those folks. You do have to be a first level connection. So if you are unfortunately not connected with Frank directly, you'll have to send him a connection request first. And then once he accepts that connection request, which may or may not happen in the next 2 weeks, you then can click on his profile, and in a drop-down menu, there is either to ask Frank to recommend you, or there is the ability to recommend Frank. I have written several unsolicited LinkedIn recommendations. It's probably the number one thing I have done for other people that has 95% of the time been met with a thank you, oh my gosh, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. In very few cases, people have asked me to make modifications. I always offer to make modifications for unsolicited LinkedIn recommendations because I may or may not have captured the right things. So this individual from India that reached out to me, I told them I'm going to take a educated guess at what I can put in and feel comfortable with in a recommendation. But if they had other things specifically they would like me to call out that maybe I haven't seen in their certification journey and their community contribution journey, I'm happy for them to provide me details on that so I can include it in my recommendation. On people that I have, so I have gotten better over the years in asking other people specifically to write me LinkedIn recommendations. I have, in some cases, written them, here's some of the examples of things I've done for the community, things that I've done as a trainer, things that I have done as an employee. And then that gives them an opportunity to kind of craft their own recommendation, but not having to research what all has Dan done, or, if it's somebody I've worked with, hopefully they have stories based on the work we did together that they could tell as well. The other thing you find in most LinkedIn recommendations is themes. So if you go to Frank's profile, and I'm actually going to navigate over there on my computer right now so I can tell you how many current profile recommendations Frank has public. The last time I checked, I want to say he had some, but it was not an overwhelming number. These are probably the number one thing that we can do for Frank. Frank has 2 recommendations. Those 2 recommendations are myself and Matthew Brown. And we are the 2 people that I know of that nominated Frank. Frank has written 1 recommendation that's public. The other thing about a recommendation is if somebody writes me a recommendation or I write them a recommendation, they also have to decide to make that public. But what I would like Frank to return to is a warm feeling from all of the love that he has received from others on LinkedIn. So if you can help me do that with Frank specifically, I would really, really appreciate it. If you are in the job market looking for a position, I have written several people that I've come across something either that I have observed about their journey to looking for their next full-time employment. If we worked together, I tried to highlight something that we did together. And if we didn't work together, I have always offered for folks to do things like help us with our newsletter for Journey to the Cloud or the Microsoft Speakers Hub, or come on to these types of events that we host weekly. We're always looking for guests. So that is my reminder to toss up our link to today's session. If you are watching, you're one of our 20 folks that are online right now. We are live on several different channels. We're just below 21 live views, but we're on Frank's LinkedIn. We're on my LinkedIn. We are on Joseph's LinkedIn for the first time. We are on Joseph's YouTube channel for the first time. We are on my X channel. That is Still Dre, STILLDREY. And then we're on the Innovation Tech Community YouTube and Frank's YouTube, as well as Joseph's. So several different places online, 2,300, just over 2,300 strong in the Microsoft Speakers Hub community. And I'm going to stay here live for a couple more minutes in case anybody would like to hop on and say hello, share their journey. If you're looking for a job, this is an excellent way to show up and maybe highlight something you've done that's a little different. I know the person I can shout out for that specifically is a friend from the Microsoft ecosystem, Corey Ebert. And Corey is somebody that I came across having worked at Microsoft previously. I'm going to share his profile here. Let me share my window and Corey's profile. And the main reason that I'm going to share Corey's profile is because Corey worked at Microsoft previously as a technical program manager. We never met personally, but Corey was one of those unsolicited recommendations. Out of the 18 that he has received, I am one of his recommendations that he received in August. So Corey and I had never met. Corey didn't ask me to write him a recommendation, but you know what? Corey is somebody that I noticed that is looking for a job, and the way he has gone about that journey in looking for his next full-time role really struck me as the right way to do it. So I'm going to scroll up here and show you what I observed from Corey's approach. When I look at Corey's posts, one, there's a number of them. He didn't just post once to say, hey, I'm looking for a job, please help me out. Corey's approach was to share different things that he's observed in his journey to finding his next full-time job. And so just today or yesterday, I noticed that he called out that some positions are very intense in how they expect you to go about interviewing with a company. He has seen companies that are doing 6+ interview rounds. Those are unpaid work from my perspective. Those companies don't have to pay for people interviewing. Wouldn't that be a neat thing to advertise your company having implemented during these hard times in 2024? What if you paid folks to interview. They're spending their time, they're putting all sorts of energy into considering working with your company. You're considering them as an employee. Whether that was, I don't even know legally if this is allowed, but it's something that occurred to me based on Corey's post. If you're expecting me to spend 6 hours, let's say each interview is an hour long, or at least scheduled for an hour, you're expecting me to put 6 hours in, assuming that I'm doing any kind of work ahead of that. I'm putting in several more hours than the 6 that you have asked me to. Whether that's in follow-up with the people that I interviewed with, whether that's preparation for the interview, et cetera, et cetera. Imagine the connection I would feel to your company if, at a minimum, you gave me some type of maybe, company swag or a thank you letter or other things. I will mention, Brainstorm, one of my previous employers, not only flew me out to American Fork, Utah for my interview after, I want to say, 1 or 2 processes that were online. I had to submit 2 videos, one about what I do for work and one that was something I'm passionate about personally. I'm assuming they wanted to see whether I could speak about something I'm passionate personally in the same way that I speak about what I'm passionate about from a work perspective. And they also gave me a gift basket when I came out to interview with them. So I know that's legal because I've heard several stories of people that have received tickets to go to a place to interview. Most employers are not going to expect you to fly to them unless you're local to interview in person. I'm sure that's returned in some form or fashion, maybe for final rounds. So if they're doing 6 rounds of interviews, maybe that's the final round or close to the final round. But you can see that Corey has been posting on a regular basis about things related to the interviews that he's had, about his journey, things he has done. So the one that really stood out to me that Corey has done for several months is almost like a status report of what he has done each and every month. This to me is not something I have seen typically from folks that are on LinkedIn. And this really stood out to me. And so Corey, I will tag you in this post. Your journey in looking for your next full-time job has really struck a chord with me. I hope it struck a chord with others. I hope others follow in your footsteps if you're looking for your next job, besides applying for more jobs, which may or may not lead to a offer, may or may not lead to a gift basket or a gift card or a thank you note at a minimum, that doesn't feel like it's generically kicked out by the system. I hope you not only find your next job, but find others that see your approach as unique, see your approach as valuable, and maybe emulate your approach. Wouldn't that be cool if we saw all sorts of people looking for new jobs, writing a status report of that? And if that becomes viral, I am more than willing to give Corey credit for having just started that trend. One trend that I saw that I am planning to come up with a template for this fall is a trend that I saw started on TikTok. I'm not sure if it started on TikTok or Instagram, but it is dating wrapped. I don't know if anybody else on here has seen the dating wrapped. And I'll put the hashtag here in our Azure and AI show this week. Dating wrapped is a hashtag that folks used and used a PowerPoint template to share their dating journey throughout a particular year. I came across this from a friend from high school that posted a thank you to somebody else he knew. I think this was on Instagram or Facebook. And I looked at that friend's profile and I saw, hey, they had this dating wrapped hashtag thing. And I watched the video, and it was basically that person that I've never met sharing a PowerPoint of how many dates they went on in the last year, how those dates went, etc. I searched for the hashtag, and lo and behold, hundreds of people have done PowerPoints to outline their dating journey throughout 2023, 2022. Looks like my gestures in my Mac are working again. So dating wrapped is a yearly thing that folks do. They use a PowerPoint template. The funniest one I have seen to date was a older woman who, one of the things that everybody does is how they met these people that they went on dates with. And she started out her PowerPoint with how many funerals she met folks to go on a date with, which was the funniest thing I have ever heard on Dating Wrapped so far. I came across another gentleman who is Indian who shared over 50 dates. So he averaged more than a date a week, and did some very, very funny information about how those dates went. And then on TikTok, I started following him because I found that post to be very funny. I believe he's a comedian. If he isn't, he should be. And then I recently saw one of his TikToks that was done in collaboration with another person that is in, the midst of dating. And I don't remember if that other person did a Dating Wrapped, but they basically did an interview together. And so the Dating Wrapped trend, I'm sure, will continue in 2024. My goal, and maybe this will get the attention of the PowerPoint team if they haven't seen the Dating Wrapped trend in previous years. It caught my attention. I'm hoping to contribute to at least one, if not multiple, templates for Dating Wrapped 2024. And that reminds me, the other thing that I put in the Azure and AI show for this week that I was planning for folks to learn about, bear with me while I go back to our broadcast and figure out, I think this week was the Generative Erase that is available in Microsoft Designer. I know both weeks I have put out our link on Frank's page. So this is scheduled first to go out live on Frank's page. And then when I get into the StreamYard, I add my channels to this. So I just want to double check what I put in as our event for today. I believe the plan was today was going to be talking about, that's in the past. I believe it was talking about the Generative Erase feature. So I'm just going to double check this here real quick. It is. So let's go ahead and talk about that, because I promised everybody we're going to show that, and it's one of my favorite Microsoft Designer features. And then we'll probably wrap things up unless anybody else joins us live here. This is reminiscent to how we used to do Journey to the Cloud. We had no formal end. We had a formal beginning, but we had no formal end in Journey to the Cloud originally. Some weeks it'd go 2 hours. Some weeks it'd go 2.5 hours. Other weeks it might go shorter. But this reminds me of how we used to go about that. So one of the things I can do with Edit with AI is Generative Erase. If you have ever been like me, where you have photos and these photos may or may not have situations where they could really use some update in what's in the photos, who's in the photos, etc. What I can do with Generative Erase, if I find a photo that I like, here we go. So I'm going to use this photo of Sharina and I from Microsoft Ignite. This is what our pre-show was about today. The Microsoft Ignite conference, that's probably the final topic we'll talk about. Let's say I really want the photo to just be of me and not me and Sharina. Sorry, Sharina, but I'm going to make you disappear from this photo. And now, with just the click of a couple buttons and the Generative Erase feature in Microsoft Designer, Sharina disappears and I am left standing right next to the Microsoft Ignite sign in Seattle. And I can erase the information to the left, or sorry, to the right of the photo as well. And just really focus on what maybe I want to in this photo. Generative Erase does a good job of trying to figure out what is left in the photo. So sometimes it might do a better job than others, but what I could do is say, this looks good, save this, and download this photo to my computer. And we have just generatively erased my friend Sharina from this photo. I have the original, so I posted that as our LinkedIn pre-show, which was an audio event. I'm thinking I'm going to do that next week as well, set up a pre-show for the Azure and AI show. So that will be a LinkedIn audio event. I will publish that this week. The other thing we were prepared to talk about was the Microsoft Ignite conference. So we will end with that topic. And if you join us next week for the pre-show on LinkedIn audio, happy to share anything that we have learned since this week about the Microsoft Ignite conference. If you aren't aware, Microsoft Ignite is Microsoft's really big conference from the past. It is in person in Chicago, Illinois, the week before Thanksgiving in November. So mid-November, several thousand folks will meet in Chicago, Illinois, attending Microsoft Ignite. Sharina, hopefully being one of those, is a Chicago colleague that I worked with at Microsoft. She is now in another company. I won't mention the company just because I haven't gotten her permission to advertise that. But if you look her up or connect with her on LinkedIn, you'll know where she works today. It's a Chicago-based company, I'll say that. And Sharina and I were talking about Ignite because we met last year in Seattle instead of Chicago, which is always ironic when I travel somewhere really far away and then I meet up with somebody that I live very close to. And we were talking about this year's conference and how she had other colleagues that might be interested in attending. And I told her, hey, you know, one way to get attendance is to speak at the conference or to, you know, do different things from a volunteer perspective. So I'm sure I'll be talking to her about those things this fall as well. And I know now 3 of her colleagues pretty well. And I worked with this particular customer when I was at Microsoft. So there are several other people that I met through that process. So you never know how many of them will be involved or what their involvement will be with Microsoft Ignite. Registration is not opened. If you go to ignite.microsoft.com, let's navigate there right now. What you should find is an opportunity to put yourself on the wait list. It's not really a wait list. Be notified when more information comes out. So we have the dates, November 19th to the 22nd. We have an optional pre-day on Monday, the 18th. The online days are Tuesday through Thursday. And then what we will see is information here somewhere about becoming a featured partner and get notified about upcoming Microsoft Ignite. So if you aren't on the wait list now, you can add yourself to the, I won't call it a wait list, the be notified when information comes out. So whenever Microsoft decides to open the registration, I got some NDA information about that, so I'm not going to spill the beans about when. But obviously, if there's a conference coming up in November of 2024 in Chicago, Illinois, there are things you can do to prepare for it. Many people may be curious as to where in Chicago the conference is. I believe that is public. If it isn't, I would suggest we take a look at something here for McCormick Place events in Chicago. And if we look at the events calendar for Chicago, and we move out into the month of November, or we search for an event called Ignite, let's see if we can just move this to November. This is the weirdest events calendar I have ever seen on a website. I'm not sure what they are doing here, because it looks like I have August and then I have March 2026 in the other calendar. Oh, further down I have the events that have been scheduled. So if we scroll down here to page 2, it looks like what we should be able to find is whether they have anything public about McCormick Place on Ignite. So let's take a look. Chicago, Microsoft Ignite location. Yeah. Choose Chicago. So I didn't necessarily see this information from Microsoft's site, but I just found it from Choose Chicago, and it looks like Microsoft has, locally maybe announced that the conference is going to be at McCormick Place, the same place it was when they originally branded the Microsoft Ignite conference. So I'm not sharing anything super secret there. Ami mentioned or reminded me that there are certain things that we know as MVPs under NDA from Microsoft that we are not allowed to share publicly. And this is a public broadcast, so I'm not going to share any of the things that I know that were shared with me to me in confidence. But I am willing to share the fact that not only have I discovered, but you have now discovered that Ignite is going to be in Chicago this year. And that location is in Chicago, Illinois, downtown Chicago at McCormick Place. The thing I did to prepare for that, I live about an hour and a half each way from Chicago downtown, is I found an Airbnb near McCormick Place. If you are interested in a alternative to a hotel that is probably very far from McCormick Place, there are not hundreds of hotels that are very near the location. However, there are lots of Airbnbs near McCormick Place. And I have snagged one for, I think it's either 6 or 8 of my closest friends. I want to say I think I had 6 to 8 folks that I could add to the reservation. So I've added those numbers, and I'm reserving those for a friend from London and a friend from the Pittsburgh area in Pennsylvania that is planning to come to Ignite. So I already have my plan from a standpoint of who's going to be staying with me at Microsoft Ignite, or at least a couple people that will be staying with me. And then the goal is to fill that up with as many folks as would like to attend Ignite and have a spot that's really close to the conference center, as opposed to maybe a shuttle bus or quite a bit further away from the conference location. And so we've looked at Generative Erase, folks, together. Generative Erase is probably one of my favorite features in Microsoft Designer to date. We have removed Sharina from the Microsoft Ignite 2023 photo that I took with her when we were both out in Seattle. Sharina is a friend from Chicago. We worked together at Microsoft. She has been with her current employer for, I want to say, probably 4 or 5 years. It's been quite a while. And we have kept in touch. We're both Microsoft alumni. I am in charge of the Microsoft Alumni Network in Chicago. And so we have done some collaborations in the past, and I'm sure we'll continue to. But that is Generative Erase in Microsoft Designer. We can see that I'm on design number 80 out of all of the designs that I have built within my account. So we can see that I put in, instead of erasing myself, I put myself into a photo with my brother-in-law, Adam. So you can erase the background, which is what I did to my photo. And then I put myself in front of Adam. This is a generative photo as well that I can download to my computer and then use in maybe a LinkedIn post in the future. There we go. And then besides that, I think I just downloaded it twice. Hopefully I don't download it 3 times. You never know. And we can also see this MVP. I saw somebody post, I don't even remember who the MVP was. I should have written it down. I'm sure I can find it. Somebody mentioned the renewed concept from Logan's Run. If you've ever seen the sci-fi movie Logan's Run, the idea was you got renewed in the science fiction book made into a movie. And I've never seen anybody renewed as a MVP, but I've seen about 3,000 screenshots, because in July, all of the current MVPs find out if we've been renewed for the next year. So it's similar to, in that case, a award that's given that you find out if you've gotten the award at a particular time and location. I probably need to take this and think about how to maybe modify it for our September new MVPs that haven't been necessarily renewed, but have found out that they've become MVPs. So I might use the same movie, or I might come up with some other type of creative way to welcome new MVPs to the program. And I can do that with the generative features in this application, including Generative Erase. So let's do another example of that, where we just erased all of the items that were there originally. And then I can also erase other things that I find in this photo, either individually, or in some cases it figures out, you know, am I trying to get rid of his face or his clothing or the whole image? And then I can also start over and decide maybe I'm just trying to get rid of the person and I'm trying to have the background available in my photo. Generative Erase tries to figure out what was behind the person without the luck of knowing exactly what was behind there. So let's see how well it does in removal. Pretty good. And, it's not perfect, but it's better than having somebody blocking your photo or in the background of your photo, if that's what you were trying to do. So I can start over and save this, download this as a Logan's Run photo. And then I can also, because this is in Designer, I could go in and take out the quotes or take out my Twitter handle, X handle, change the response that I received from Francis to the question about, have you ever seen anybody renewed? And that is a little bit more about Microsoft Designer. We've been going for an hour and 45 minutes, folks. Let's see if I can remove this comment here. I think I'm in the wrong window. I am. There we go. Remove the comment. And folks, thanks for joining us today. It's about 2:45 my time. It's much later in the evening if you are in Europe or Asia. Might even be morning your time, depending on where you are. If you're over in the Australia time zone or time zones, New Zealand, etc. But thanks for joining us. I'll see you here next week for Journey to the Cloud. That's typically on Thursday afternoon, same time that we do this. And then I'll see you next Saturday for the Azure and AI show. Thanks, everybody.